The Widow by John Grisham. Simon Latch is a lawyer in a small Virginia town, and he is going broke. He's got a divorce upcoming, he has gambling debts, and he's doing these small jobs for this little firm, and he's not doing well financially. When all of a sudden, a old lady comes into his office and wants him to do her will. And she says that she has assets that are worth millions and millions of dollars, and Simon Latch sees an opportunity. So Simon agrees to help her put together this will, and meanwhile he's kind of scheming about all the legal ways that he can get his hands on her vast fortune. This is the setup of John Grisham's most recent novel that just came out a month or so ago. Last time I reviewed A Time to Kill, which is the first book that John Grisham wrote. I thought it's only fair if I do his most recent book. To me, it's interesting to see how a writer changes over the decades, and especially in John Grisham's case, because he's written over 50 books, and so it's funny to think of how has his writing process changed. One definite thing I can say is he is having a lot more fun with this book than he was back in A Time to Kill. In some parts it's almost a comedy with how he talks about the characters, and he certainly wasn't having that much fun in A Time to Kill. John Grisham uses his typical narrative style here. It is not tight and tense. It is spread out over weeks and months and conversation here and there. And of course, we are always aware of what people are eating and drinking and how much money is involved in all the large and small transactions. I bring that up only partly as a complaint because John Grisham uses it a lot, and it does help with the realism of the situation, and it does make you feel like this is an actual event that you're watching. On the other hand, it does tend to wear thin after a while. Love it or hate it, this is John Grisham's way of telling a story. Spoiler alert, I need to talk about the ending a bit, because I do have a complaint about the overall storyline of this book. The premise of the book is you have a greedy, self-obsessed lawyer who has an opportunity to get money, and then after he meets this widow and he thinks this is his golden chance, things start to unravel for him. The big question of this narrative as you're reading this is, does he get his just desserts in the end? Does he learn a lesson, or does he not learn a lesson? Is he oblivious to all of this? And the book doesn't really answer that. It's a very weak character arc, and it feels more like these are just a series of events that happen, as opposed to this is the story that's happening. This is the path that the main character is following. In the second half of the book, he's facing a wrongful conviction, and you could argue that the character arc is he's self-obsessed and he has this love of money and he's greedy in the first half, and then this wrongful conviction teaches him that he shouldn't go that way, that this is a wrong life path. But that's more of me filling in the dots, and it seems a point that the book is a bit oblivious to. I actually wish he would have elaborated on that more, because it's an interesting point, because in a sense you have two wrongs that make a right. As it's written, it was a little jarring to me, because the first half, it seems to be about greed, an indictment of the flaws in the legal system and the greedy lawyers, which is interesting and great classic Grisham territory. And then the second half seemed to be about wrongful convictions and how our jury system is flawed. So it's like he changed his mind what the story was about in the middle. On the plus side, it does have a whodunit murder mystery sort of element to it in the second half, which I did find myself getting caught up in, like who could have done it and who did what. But the end result kind of comes out of left field for me. There's no way you get to the ending and you figure out what happened and you say, oh, I should have saw that one coming. There's no way you're going to see this is coming. If I were to rate this relative to Grisham's other books, I would think it's about middle of the road. It's Grisham's skills on display, which is great, but there's nothing really special here that makes it stand out. I don't know why I would ever take a look at this book again or think about this book again. What's funny to me is how, despite my hatred of the ending of A Time to Kill, I actually enjoyed A Time to Kill more because it did have a strong narrative arc to it. It was the pressures on this one lawyer to do the right thing even when all the other elements are telling him to stop. And the story is him holding true to that. There's nothing like that here. So it's weird to me that your first book is better than your 54th book, I think this one is. You have to wonder if that would give you pause as a writer, if you've written so many books and they're not getting better. It makes you wonder if you're writing because you're in the business of putting out a product that gets a lot of money versus you're refining the craft of writing. Not that there's anything wrong with coming out with a product that people like and give you money for and capitalizing on that. I have no complaints against that. The ironic thing is that a lot of John Grisham's books are about the evil of greed and being obsessed with money. Despite this, I have to admit, I was entertained, I had fun from beginning to end, and I'm going to give this book 3 stars.